Okay, good morning. Good morning. Well, good morning for Mashy. For me, I'm fortunate. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so Mashy's having coffee.
It is morning for me still.
Yes, Mashy's having coffee with little baby in there.
Little.
You know,
There may be a little something to get me through the rest of the day, but as far as you know, I'm having coffee.
Yeah, and I'm
in my golf cup. You see my little golf cup here?
Yes.
Can you see it? My little coffee.
Oh yeah, I do. Yes. Yep.
My kids gave this to me. There's a little cutout right here. Okay. And you see, it's a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you see the like?
Yeah.
So it comes with, and I have it here. It comes with a little putter and a little bitty ball. And
so you putt through. It's like miniature golf.
Exactly.
So that's what's behind the bar. You're having coffee, and I'm having a Dogfish Head 60-minute IPA.
Dogfish Head. Wow. Is that a local?
Yeah, you guys don't have Dogfish out there.
No,
it's
maybe.
A local, but
I don't drink a lot of beer, so I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it's here, but
I mean, it's a local, but it's a very popular local, and sometimes it's funny because I'm sure everyone's like this. Like for me, have you heard of Trogs?
Yes.
Okay, that's in Hershey, and I consider that a local. But sometimes I say Trogs to people, and they're like, "What's that?" Because they have a limited reach because they are still kind of a microbrew. So Dogfish Head to me is, I think they're as big as Trogs around. They might not be.
What's the can look like? I do better.
I don't know. It's a keg.
You got the keg. Okay.
I got the keg. I should have taken the label off the top of the keg. But they have a 60-minute and a 90-minute and a 120-minute IPA. And if I recall correctly, it's how long they do like these things called like a hop rocket where they put hops in and then they actually cycle the beer through the hops, and it's how long they do that for. So like the 60-minute is only 60 minutes of this cycling, how long they dry hop, and then 120 minutes they do it for 120 minutes, and it's extremely hoppy, but it's also a lot more expensive. So it's a good beer. It's one of my favorites.
I'm looking at the can. The can looks familiar. I was just looking online. The can looks familiar to me, but it's not one like I have in my fridge at the moment. But it looks good. I like the color. The color looks really good from here.
Yeah, it's beautiful looking
golden,
beer. Very beautiful looking beer. And just what we have on tap for the guys are still coming over for indoor golf, so that's what we have right now.
Nice.
And you're drinking Sanka?
Yeah, 1977 called my mom. Made a cup of a Sanka instant. I don't think I've ever heard Sanka mentioned in the last 15 years.
Oh, you said to your mom. I don't know. It's funny because my grandmother was the same way. Hell, just have a little Sanka.
Well, my mom was all into. It was a can. It was like chock full of nuts. What was it called? Oh my
Count
goodness.
Chocolate?
No. I did Frankenberry as a kid though. Let's go there. There's right. Some strawberry milk. I have to look up and see if I can't find it. But it was a round metal can. I can visualize the logo on it. It was like chock full of nuts or something like chock. I don't know. I gotta go find it.
That's a coffee.
Yeah, that's what they bought when I was a kid, and that's what they were drinking, and it was like. I remember them boiling water and put it in. No, I'm more fancy frou over here. So this is my new Nespresso Virtuoso little individual cup. I think it's probably a $17 cup of coffee by the time
Yes, right. It's still cheaper than what my daughter's.
And I'm like hardcore coffee for me is like I'm a 2 to 3 cup in the morning. I'm usually done by around noon on my coffee, and I am just coffee and cream. That's it. There's no fancies, no sugars, because I literally could drink Sanka and it would be fine with me. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not. I drink my coffee black most of the time. I don't even put anything.
I have a friend here who is a big coffee guy, and he actually buys beans and roasts his own beans, and so he then grinds his own. I mean, I'm like, yeah, I'll get my Sanka instant and call it a day.
So new logo is beer, bourbon, Biomes,
and
beans.
Biomes beans. And if it's a night show, then it would be chili beans.
Chili beans, yeah.
Coffee beans.
The magical fruit.
Then the show will never end.
Yes. We should have.
So, how was your week?
My week was good. Yeah, I think we missed this section here. Let me unhide this. But
there you go.
My week was good. Yeah, it was. So you and I had been kind of talking because my company went through some rifts this week, so I was a little
Yep.
stressed out for a little bit, but I survived, thankfully. But,
Yep.
like you and I both work for tech companies, have
Tech.
taken a beating in the past 18 months,
Yep. Been through it. It's hard. It's
It's
hard seeing
hard.
your friends that you've worked with for a long time go through it.
Yes.
It's hard. I will say this, knowing it sounds really ridiculous, because the folks that do get impacted, it's super hard and emotional, stressful
Stressful.
on
Yeah.
them. And then the ones that don't get impactful have a level of stress. There's a level of, wow, like a little bit of, whew, I didn't get it. And they'll have like, wow, shit, like my friends did. It sucks. So,
Yeah.
it's not good. And I hate when it happens to happen. And I've been on, we were talking pre-show, I've been on both ends. I've been riffed and I've had to do the riffing as a leader in the org. So, it's not fun on either end of it.
Yeah. I have a great relationship with my boss. He kept on assuring me that I was okay, but I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, it doesn't come down to it's someone up high levels making these
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah.
So like, because then they take the emotions out of it because they're just pointing at numbers, right?
There was one that I got, and I won't go into any details, obviously, but there was one that and I've been at the company for a long time, but there was one that I had to do with, again, I'm sure with your boss they did it very similar, which is like the day before it happened, I ended up with a list. And I was like, boom, here's
Yeah.
the people on your team and they're impacted and you need to set up a call and go have this conversation. And one of them I just fundamentally disagreed with, so I'm not doing it. And I'm like, and I went back to my senior leadership team and I said, if this is what's happening, you're doing it. I'm not. And I refused to actually do it, and they had to do it.
Huh.
So
Yeah. For us, it wasn't your direct manager that called you; it was the manager above. I guess.
For us, it's usually your direct manager.
Okay.
Yep.
Um.
But enough depressing talk.
Yeah. So let's have some fun. Which is, we decided this week to when we talk, tell me about your first car. Right.
Yeah.
The
You want to go
stories.
first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
me growing up, it was my sister and I. My sister was 3 years older. So when she first started driving, she got like my mom's car, which was a Volkswagen Rabbit.
Okay.
We had bought this
Okay.
car brand new. She had got
Yep.
it. And we lived way out away from town. Like even driving to school for us, like was a 20-30 minute drive. So we put a lot of miles on it. So my first car was this Volkswagen Rabbit, which was just a freaking tank. And I abused the hell out of it. It was the funny thing about this car, which makes it great, is I ended up putting like a really, really, really nice stereo in it. So I had like the subwoofer in the trunk, and then I had like nice speakers throughout it. So the thing would like really just like turn up some good music and we cruise
Yep.
around. It had a CD changer in at the time, and which in the 80s was unheard of. Yeah, and then by the time I got rid of it, that car had 500,000 miles on it,
Holy cow.
right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And
Wow.
and then I graduated from high school. We sold it to somebody, and apparently we knew who this guy was. He drove it, he said, until it had 700,000 miles on it. So that's why I said it was just a little tank of a car. So I look
Yeah.
back, I have fond memories of now Volkswagen. Recent years has they've had some issues, but yeah, it was got lots of memories of my
That's
Volkswagen
awesome.
Rabbit.
Yeah, you'll remember that car. You probably tell
Yeah.
that car story to your kids when they got their car. You're
Yes. Yep.
like, yeah. So I'm gonna diverge a little bit. My first car is nothing to talk about. I like most of ours. I got my mom's first car. It was like a 1980 something Mazda GLC station wagon. There was nothing to write home about. And I drove it for literally about 6 months. And I had been saving up money, and then she helped me a little bit. So my first real car, like I got, as like this is gonna be, I bought it from my neighbor who lived across the street. And it was a 64 and a half Mustang convertible.
Jeez.
And it was gorgeous. They were the original owners.
Wow.
And it was a three speed, three on the, I think it was three on the tree if I remember correctly. And it had an inline six, so it did not have a big, powerful. It was early days Mustang. It did not have a big. It was like I said, inline 6-cylinder, and but it looked really damn good. And it was like maroon with a white convertible top, and they had it for their whole life. And it sat in this family. We've lost track over the years, but when I was a kid, they were really pretty good friends living across the street from us. and they had a ranch. This is in Austin, by the way, Texas, and they had a ranch about 3 hours south of Austin, or 4 hours south of Austin. Some massive, huge ranch down there. So the car sat in a barn in the ranch for like 20 years, undercover. Okay, so then when they learned, and
hidden
my mom,
gem, right?
Hidden gem. So I ended up getting it. They discounted the crap out of it because we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. My mom, we didn't have anything, and we bought it, and it was great. And like had to put new tires on it right off the bat because that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I drove it, and after the first few months, the engine died.
Oh no!
And it turns out that it had sat for so long that when they took the shop took the head covers off the engine, the block, it sat for so long, the block had metal fatigue, and you could press your thumb into the top of the block and leave a thumbprint on it. And so the whole engine failed because it sat without any maintenance for 20 years, and just like, you know what I mean, kind of deteriorated. So had to put a new engine in it, which was just the beginning, then a new transmission, and then. And so I ended up, on one hand, I wish I had kept it, but I ended up getting rid of it. I went to college in Texas. I went to many colleges. I did my tour of schools, but I did a stint at Texas Tech in Lubbock. And in the wintertime, that car, the heater sucked, and the convertible top had like spaces all in it. It was cold as hell, and so I ended up trading it for a more modern car that had a heater that worked, and things like that. So part of me wishes I had kept it. Part of me is okay to trade it. It was great for the years that I had it through high school. Yeah. Part of it was a giant money pit because every few months something was going bad on it. It
wasn't a very practical car, but it was very nostalgic.
I think it would have been a great car to kind of fully restore and sit in a garage somewhere to look at, not drive as a daily driver as a high school kid.
Yeah, take it out on Saturday night to go grab something to eat. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. So that was my first car.
All right. Cool.
We got courses.
Yes, we do.
The trend of lots of releases continues.
Yep, sure did. So, first page. And another trend, which are these like, if you want to call it European, Swiss courses. Yeah. So we have Andermatt, Switzerland, Adam TC4, JG Garage. Cool looking course, big mountains. Yeah. Switzerland, that's what you gotta expect. Then we got the old sandwich.
Yep. Just came out yesterday, I think.
Yeah, was it yesterday? We got Shooting Star Golf Club by our buddy there, Brian, in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Yep.
Shore Acres. So does JG do any courses on his own, or does he just team up with people now?
I don't know. That's a great question. Like, I mean, hell, if you can team up, why not, right?
Yeah, I just sometimes you don't know what their is, because I know he's like a big SketchUp guy though, right?
He does a lot of SketchUp. He does a lot of Blender. I think he's doing Blender now as well.
I know he started on SketchUp, but then I think he came over to Blender, and now I think mostly works in Blender. Next page, we got Sageview Golf Course and got Jay Pruitt in Saskatchewan. We had another Saskatchewan course, I think, last week. Rams Hill Golf Club. Now this is we missed this one the first time around.
We missed this one. So, but to be fair, we didn't miss it because you and I talked about it.
We talked about it,
and we went back and looked at our stuff, and it was in our notes and stuff when we talked about it, and somehow it didn't make it into the show. I don't know how that happened.
So you and I kind of, I don't know. One week you do like slides, one week I do slides, and then for some reason that week I can't remember who did the slides, but we didn't put it in.
It's probably me.
It's probably, yeah. All right, everybody blame Mashy. All right.
Yep, it's probably me. It's okay.
Strathcona Golf Course by Parker, Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, it's too loud there to play that course. At Thunder Bay, it's just like lots of. It's too loud. It couldn't concentrate.
Thunder. It's right next to Thunder Thighs.
Oh, hey now.
And we have 2 golf ball courses this week. One is Oakwood Country Club in Coal Valley, Illinois, and then one is Verona Hills Country Club in Bad Axe.
Right. I love that place. I want to go live in Bad Axe, Michigan.
Badass.
That's I'm a badass in Bad Axe, Michigan. Like, I want to be.
Windbeer Country Club in Salix, Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania. I've never heard of Salix.
Like Pennsylvania is not that big. I mean, it's not a small state, but it's not a big state. Like, is that like you don't know where it is anywhere?
No, I mean Pennsylvania's. It's not. It's certainly no
It's
Colorado.
not small. It's not Rhode Island size, but it's not Texas. You know, it's not Texas size.
I'm sure there's towns in Colorado you've never heard of too, right?
Oh, for sure. But like, wouldn't you be embarrassed if like that's like your next door neighbor town?
Yeah, I don't think it is. The thing is, I am very unfamiliar with like Western Pennsylvania, like out towards Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Eastern Pennsylvania, I'm much more familiar with, but it's probably out in Western PA. I wouldn't know.
It's same. I know a lot about the eastern half of Colorado, the western half because I don't get over there very often. I know some names of some towns over there, but I don't really know them that well.
Yeah. And then you dropped. Well, your course was released yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So that was a late ad, at least for you.
Yep.
For me, it was because I'm the one that looks over it.
Yep. So that came in last night. They got that up quick. I posted it yesterday, and then they posted it literally like 2 hours after I posted it. I was surprised it would go that quick.
Okay. So the M-Pals. So let's get into the M-Pals of the week. Yay! All right. So first one, yes, Sage View Golf Course by Jay Pruitt. Now,
congrats, Jay Pruitt.
Now wait a minute, Jay. What's going on here?
Can we at least put a description?
And some slope and ratings?
And some slope and ratings. Come on, man. I know the course is fantastic.
Well, I'm going to make the announcement for John Meyer, which is those slopes and ratings are increasingly going to become more and more important because the handicap system for GS Pro is going to start using those.
Yes. And I will add, we don't do this very often, but Jay, you need to go back and add them and update it if you haven't already done it, because normally we say, hey, when you go back and do an update, you can fix a few things here and there. We see it. This one, you need to go back in. You will have an issue with your course by not having them in there when it goes to the slope and ratings of the handicap system. So please update it.
Yeah, and not only that, but don't take the ones just off the scorecard and put them in there. There is a tool in there where you can input the one scorecard from the real course, but because your distances don't match, there's a tool in there that will adjust them. So really important, guys. Get it done. Get it done.
Yep. Use the tool. That's all. I only use the tool now.
So this course.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I like the lighting. So he did standard lighting, and
which I love. I like. Yep.
And with a skybox, sunset. Which, let's face it, if you try to do a sunset with advanced lighting, forget about it. Does not look well. But he did it with a skybox and looks pretty good. I like the hues. Gives you that late night golfing, trying to get your round in at the end.
Yep. I like the target golf range that he's got here. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think the only very small nick for me was I would have loved to seen the wood edges that go around the grass there. I would love to see them raised up a few inches so when you land on, it would hit and bounce off so the ball stayed on the thing versus rolling into the water. But that's just my own personal 2 cents. Like there were a couple shots I hit that hit like by the top of the Canadian leaf, the maple leaf, and it rolled off onto the thing. But it's beautiful. It looks great, and it's really unique too. I was surprised when I went hit head to range and I came to here. It was a nice surprise, right?
Do you think now are the maple leaves trademarked?
Takedown notice. Takedown notice. The country of Canada will be asking you to take your course down.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I thought was interesting, though. So if you advance one slide, there is a range that he splined and went and took the time to put some yardage markers out into the range.
It's not used.
And it's not used. You can't. So I'm guessing he changed his mind last. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, he changed his mind. And because you could always go into practice mode, just drop a ball over there if you really just want to hit off like a long board range, right?
Yep. I didn't think about practice mode. You could just go to practice mode. So great first hole. I love the colors looked great. I really love. He's got these kind of like right around this tee box. He's elevated tees. He's got those and a bunch of them. I'm assuming that's how it is in real life. I thought it was really nicely done. I like the vert painting of the path. You can see there's no cart path. That's where the carts drive, and it's kind of worn out. I like that a lot. I like how he baked it to mesh, so the 3DG is missing on most of it. I just thought overall it was a really good looking view. That skybox with the setting sun off, it looks like, I'm hitting towards the south. If the sun is setting in the west over there, I'm hitting towards the south, and I thought it looked beautiful. The other thing I was going to add was I forgot. So that was what do you want? Yeah, I forgot.
It's all right. We'll go on. T markers look good, simple.
And I think and I'm okay with it personally. I don't know about you, but like, I think that these are the cube T markers that are in the base pack that he updated. I think it's great.
Yeah, and it's like there's so many of the base T markers that you can just take and swap out logos for. Like,
I think it's great. I love the way DPR did that and allowed for that. So like, it's a custom T marker, custom flag. It's great. And then I thought this is my approach shot of number 1. I hit my tee out shot out there, and this is the approach. And there's a couple of things I just really loved. It really sets the pace for the whole course. One is the boats. That's where the range is that he put, the little hitting range. So I love how you can see them out in the water off there, kind of going down towards that water. There's a beach down there. I didn't get a close up of the beach. There's a by that's kind of right down there by where the trees are. And then the grasses on the right-hand side over here, the deep, rough grasses, he did a really, really good job on them. And I've got a close-up of those. So if you go, like, I just thought this was done. The combination of the floor color to the root, the bottom color of the grasses with those lavender and kind of lighter flowers in there. It was just really well done, and it even played off the sky colors.
That's what I was going to say. It's like the first time I've seen someone actually blend stuff into the skybox too. That's interesting. It definitely gives you the late kind of like sunset evening feeling.
Yeah, feels like it's summer sunset. I love that there's a mobile home park. It's probably the most expensive real estate. You're on the water and
on the golf course.
Masta lives right here. He's in the white one with the blue.
was that the Chris Farley skit? I live in a van down by the river. I live in a trailer down by the golf course.
We need some Chris Farley. Steve, we need some down by the river music.
Yes. And what's really cool here is, like, you look back, he even did a really good job of making sure that his reflections weren't too dark, and they reflected that lavender color as well. Everything.
Yep. It was really well done. I liked it a lot. So there's a lot more to like about the course. I didn't grab too many pictures. Again, we don't want to show off too much of the course. Really, really great job. The course itself, the layout is a ton of fun. A lot of up and down, a lot of elevated tee shots, which is a ton of fun. So it was a combination of a great looking course and a fun course to play. So well done. Really, really well executed.
All right. Now let's head over to Switzerland.
Andermatt.
If we could find some. Steve, can you find any like Swiss music, like Sound of Music, or yodeling or something?
He should have put some yodeling or some what are those big horns that they like, the Ricola ads?
Yes, Ricola.
They should like on the first tee there should be some horns blowing in the background and make me I'm in the Swiss Alps,
So this was obviously a course. You got to get the backgrounds right. Okay.
Yes.
And I think all they did here was terrain painting.
Yeah, I think this is all. It's meshed out, but it's all sat. It's all just terrain.
Yeah, I shouldn't say terrain. It's mesh painting, but with sat. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not. Listen, I'll save it for later. But like, I think he did a really nice job of planting trees and billboarded trees kind of on top of the sat, right? And there's even I think he did a little bit of sat work too, because a lot of times the sat image looks like tops of trees, and this one looks like it's been a lot more blended out, like different colors in the rocks and dirt. So I think it looks really nice.
Yeah. Obviously you can tee off in the driving range. Pretty simple, flat.
Yep, nothing fancy there.
Yeah.
But this is where we played this one. A bunch of us played this one in the
Beta League.
In the Beta League. Thank you, the Beta League. And This was a ton of fun. And this first hole, we were like, holy crap! Like, look at the size of the terrain and the mountain and the hill. But he did a really nice job of planting rocks and vegetation where it needs to be to give it a little bit of depth. It doesn't look like flat 2D sat imagery on top of a terrain, on top of a mesh, you know?
Yeah, like and just he even put like not a lot, but just a handful of trees out there. You can see up in the hill a little bit. Looks like there's kind of like a ravine coming down there. If you zoom in, then there's like a few rocks. So you're not really sure where the planting stuff ends and what's sat. So it does because like one of the hardest things about courses like this when you don't have a lot of vegetation is you lose a little bit of depth. So just putting a few things out there, I think, helps tremendously. It's not many, it's enough.
I think personally, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think courses like this, where you're in a valley and you've got giant mountains around you, are really, really difficult because, you know, I mean, you can use, and they look really good, like nature manufactured mountains or mountain assets. But if you want it like this, I think this one you really needed to use to make it look like the real mountain, because you're so close to it, and then you're stuck with it being sat and it being flat. And so I think the other hard course are the courses that are right up high that then go down low, because then it's hard to do grasses and stuff that far out and give it some level of depth without it being just a flat, you know?
Yeah.
So he did a great job. T markers look great. Flag looks great.
Simple. You know,
simple. Great. Love it.
Wait, is that the Swish? That is the Swish.
That's the Swiss logo. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think it was if it was Sweden or Switzerland, but it is Switzerland. Okay. These are cool.
These are great. This is where when you start getting closer up to that same mountain, when the grasses start rendering, that you go, holy crap, this is amazing looking. So I'm
assuming what he did there was he lifted the terrain so it was like kind of into that structure, and then meshed and then planted on the meshes to make that happen.
Yeah, and then just
I guess he could have done that in Blender too.
Yeah, he could have done that, or we could have done it in Unity, just raise it, like you said.
Yeah, Unity's probably easier, because then you can drop the house in, and then you can raise the train right up against the back of it.
I'd probably drop the house in and then raise the train up around it, and then export that, and then do it into Blender. I thought it looked great. I feel like I'm in Switzerland. I mean, I've been there once before. I feel like I'm in Switzerland, right? Like, and I thought this is 3DG. I assume this is 3DG. Now, we did have a debate in the beta league, Pac-Man and I.
I don't think that's 3DG, because that's rendered out way too far to be 3DG.
So let me back up. The green grasses
up front
I'm referring to. We had a debate as to, is that 3DG? We actually decided we don't think that's 3DG. And this may answer the question you and I were talking about earlier. We think those are, like, from the Nature Manufacturer Mountain Pack, the 3D grasses, the prefabs.
Okay.
And then he probably planted them sparingly, because they use a ton of tries, right? It's really hard to use those and not. But he probably planted them sparingly enough where he needed to, and that way it allowed it to, in the next screenshot, you'll see, allowed it to blend very nicely. Yeah, you see how they blend? That blend is beautiful. I love how it comes a dark green by the river, then up into the drier stuff on the top side. So that was our debate: is this 3DG or is this like a grass prefab?
Now, I want people, if you're watching the show and you watch it from the beginning, I want you to remember this spot, because in a course that we review later on, this is the look we want them to come up with, and so just remember that.
Really well done. Really good done. Love the town. Look at all the stuff he had to build out, because, again, this is just past the course. You go up the hill, and this is looking down, and you come back around this town. So you had to have something there. You couldn't just leave it. And he's got so many unique little structures. I took some pictures of different ones. The water tower there, the farm. He left the sat of the road going down to the farm. I think it's great. He planted all the grasses around it.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think it looked really good. And then I got some close-ups of some of the, like, you can see the course kind of going around the field here. Course is on the backside over there, and then all these farm buildings and farm tractors and stuff right here. And then you can see the road going up in the mountain. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was a ton of fun to play too. A lot of up and down. He created these very simple, nothing overly elaborate homes, and they're off in the distance, and they're exactly what they needed, like condo kind
Yeah,
of
apparently they
places.
have condos in Switzerland.
Yeah,
Who would have
apparently.
thought? Good texture
Thought
there.
that
I love that
good texture
chimney.
there. Yep.
Perfect.
Clubhouse, really unique, custom, all good. Great
Nice.
job. Fun course.
Yeah, I love it. And then now we're playing catch up with Jay Rockaway and Rams Hill.
Sorry, Jay Rockaway.
I don't know how we missed this. We
I
did
don't know.
did have it as an MPAL a couple weeks ago in our notes, and then
We
somehow
did.
just never made it in. So this is kind of like where was this course? Wait a minute. So California, I'm not familiar with this area. Do you have any idea where part of California Borrego
I have
Springs is?
nowhere. I'm assuming Southern California. I will look it up and see while you're
Okay.
talking and see.
So we have driving range here, and Jay Rockaway has come up with this technique. Most of the people watching the show probably knows he does this pano thing where he puts it on a cylinder. So what you're looking at really is the real Google Earth imaging of the surrounding area. So does the course and then just puts this pano image around the outside of it. So cool. So here's the driving range where you're hitting off, and you got the Great Mountains in the back. Maybe these are the Palisades. I don't
So it
know.
is in. I did look it up. It is east of San Diego. It's probably it's not close to San Diego. Not like
Okay.
I have to look and see, but it's. I don't know how far to say. I have to do like a driving thing and see, but like it's east of San Diego in
Okay.
the kind of going closer to the desert side of California.
Nice.
Pretty
So
far south though.
so this is a full length course for him. You know, who we're talking like I think last week we were talking about him, and he was saying how he likes to do these smaller
Yep.
par three like jobs.
Yep.
We talked about that last week, but this is kind of like a desert feel course with the mountains in the background. You get the feeling for sure when you're on here. I really like, first of all, when you're looking at the mini map, I like the contrast when you these desert courses. You know exactly where the rough is, you know where the fairway is, you know where your
Yep.
bunkers are, you know
Yep.
where the trouble is because of all the contrast. No different here. Uh, nice T markers. So the Rams head, the T markers. Jay Rockaway's great with textures, materials, and of course you have the custom flags. And I just want to let everyone know we have a hell of a time capturing these custom flags
We
because
do. We do.
and I'll tell everyone just try this. Go into a course and you zoom in and the flag flips and then it's
It
backwards.
does.
And it's
It
just like
does.
you have to like you got to be quick. You get up there and you got to do this, window shift S really quick before the flag flips over. So you guys should
Courses
all
without
appreciate.
writing, flags without writing on them, we appreciate
Yes.
because it can flip
Yes.
and we don't have to worry about getting it correctly.
um So here, like zooming out, this is kind of like a note to some other people is make sure when you spline, this is what's really important to understand like blends is you can save yourself some work. In this case, Jay Rockaway, he has a lot of things, like some areas you can tell how he did his inkscapes on. He was avoiding cutting through some blends, and then he went back in and he fixed some of those areas. So let me just show you this. So here you can see this blend
Perfect.
he had to change it so that here, okay, the blend is going to this drier area, and then here it actually is going to this more lush area. And he had to do this in a ton of different areas. It's a lot of work. I did find a few that he had missed, but again, it is not easy. And as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, that's kind of like my quote unquote tip for the week is just make sure when you're splining, avoid cutting through any shapes that have blends. And most people don't even realize, if you don't do it or do it differently than the real course. So just be aware of that. He did a good job. Now here's one area he did miss it.
Yeah.
You can see here that
Yeah, and
he
like
just missed the
I do
blend.
that now too. Like I look at it, I'm like going, wow, this is I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna leave myself a little bitty piece of rough. Is that the what Blender really wants? And then my blend is going to be broken up across
Yes.
multiple. Do I want to do that?
Do
So
you
I
want to do
think
that?
I try to think. I miss it sometimes, but I do try to think that way. Is like, you know what? I'm just going to make this go all the way around, so it's one blend as opposed to breaking it.
Yep. And that's
But it
why.
doesn't always work that way, depending on sometimes the course.
No, exactly. So
Yep.
remember earlier when we said, hey, look at this area. I would have liked to have seen. I really like how he like made this dry grass area around a lot of the bunkers. I like the look. I wish he would have tried, and maybe he did, attempted to blend those two grasses together so there wasn't as much as a hard line. So that picture I showed earlier, where it, I don't know how they did it. I'm assuming they kind of did a little bit like vert painting across. Um, it's tough though because you got to have a blend in there. So what do you do? Do you paint the blend? Do you take the blend out? I know in a lot of his bunkers. Let me show where here. Like for example, this one. Maybe he could have just taken the blend out of it and then just kind of vert painted a little bit around the perimeter
Around
to
the
get
edge
more
there.
of
So
like
yep.
a to get this more of a staggered kind of blend between the dry grass and the lush grass. I don't
Go
know.
back to your top view as well.
This one?
Yeah, because what you could also do, let me think where that is. Yeah, well, what he could also do is he could possibly do a little bit of satellite where
Right.
the satellite shader is not quite so hard lined around the edge of that, and that way if you're just using 3DG and it's using the satellite imagery on it, your
Yeah.
grasses will go kind of more blended that
Yeah.
way as well. That's one way to do it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still like the desert course.
Yep.
That's
I
really
do too.
fun.
I love that. I mean, I felt like I was in the desert. I thought it looked great. Really well done. It was fun to play. It was a good layout. The flowers and the bushes and the stuff. I was really impressed with everything that was in and around the desert part of it. Right. It felt like I was in rocks and it was great. Really well done.
Yep. Nice job. Uh, so Golf Boy,
Golf
congratulations.
boy, congratulations, bud.
Yeah. So Oakwood Country Club. I have to say, like the two courses he released this week, I think color wise, both of them were pretty good. We're giving Oakwood
Yep.
a MPAL because Mash and I talked. I think this is just a more interesting course.
It's a more fun course. This is a great example of where we thought both courses looked good, but of the two, this was a way more fun course to play in the sim. The other one was a little flatter, a little more boring.
Yeah.
So that kind of threw me over the fence on this one. But man, you've done. Thank you. You listened, and we appreciate it. And your colors are really, really well done here.
Yeah, and we we were actually saying, and we forgot to do it in pre-show. We said we were going to go out and get a screenshot one of his very early on courses and put it next to this one and show the
Yeah,
differences
yeah.
because I think you're finally getting some natural lighting here. Things aren't like you got some nice shadows under the trees. You got some darkness in there for the depth. So I think it looks, really good.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, I love it.
Good job with the custom the custom flags.
Flags.
Now you're still using the default tees, and so we have an idea for you, Golf Boy, which is, and this is a challenge, is go out and I want you to create Golf Boy tee markers. You can use your logo from your website or something,
Something.
GB something, and create custom tee markers. Something that you can change the color on, so you have blue, black, white, green, red, tee markers. And when your clients come to you, and you can say to them, "Do you want custom tee markers?" And if they say no, you can say, "Okay, fine. You're just getting the Golf Boy tee markers, the standard Golf Boy tee markers." But if they pay you, whatever you want to charge extra, you'll create custom tee markers for them. So
Yep.
by default, I want to see some Golf Boy tee markers. All right.
Yeah. That was my only big disappointment on the course was seeing these tee markers. With so many options that we have and with the quality of what you've put out in the course, like don't skimp the small details like that. And even if they're not gonna like if this was a commission course, like Masta's saying, if this is a commission course and they're saying I don't want to pay for custom tee markers, just don't use those.
uh, so I loved how here, like your colors are consistent across this whole course.
Yep.
And the one thing I'm going to say is, yeah, keep this up. And now challenge yourself by when you do vegetation, is find something that actually starts to break it up now. And what do I mean by that? Which is, I think Pac-Man is one of the best guys as far as vegetation goes.
Yeah.
And what he would do in a situation like this is this would be like his base color. Then he's going to find some plant that goes in here that breaks this up just a little. Maybe it's a weed, maybe it's a flower or something.
A small bush.
Yeah, a small bush, and then just kind of randomly puts that out and about. You don't have to do it on every course, but it's just something that gives the course more like a unique look instead of being more monotonous. I'm not saying this is monotonous; it looks really good, but just something to help you out and grow. Pac-Man does a really good job of it, I think.
Agreed.
I love his, if you want to call these, the border walls around the grass, the bulkheads. He did assuming he did a bulkhead in Blender and then just changed the material on it here. But even beyond those just looking good, the reflection on here is great. If you look at this, you can just see the reflection of the bulkhead is coming in here too. And it looks like the reflection of a house here. Not a big deal, but like
I was just noticing a reflection of a house there, and I don't see a house anymore, which is kind of. Oh, you know where it is? I think look up. Is that a house up to the left? No, I don't know. I don't know where it's getting that reflection.
It still looks pretty good though.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Color of the water looks good.
And I think this is just satellite shading on a field, kind of off in the distance. I think this looked really natural to me as well. Now you can see like the horizon and things kind of fall off in the distance, but when you're on the course, you don't see that. I just kind of wanted to illustrate that this field looks really good. A good place to just use sat shader or once in a while, right?
Yep.
Nice grasses.
Great close up of the grasses. Yeah.
Yeah, just looks like deep rough, very natural looking. Good job
Colors
there.
Look great. I love that green color with the dry brownish color. The colors were spot on.
Yeah. So here was the one, if I did have a critique, so this is like a deep rough area, which to me, like right now, you did a great job. Like there's, I think 2 or 3 grasses in here, and they all kind of are, the hues of them surround the underlying color here. Really, really, really great. But when I zoom in, if I'm going to zoom in right to this area, you can see then it gets really dark. I would have liked to seen that bottom here a little bit lighter so that it matches this look a little bit better instead of going really dark here when I zoom in. But still, minor critique. Still, good job.
Yep. Great course. Love it.
Yeah.
Good job. Congratulations.
And we got your course, Mashy. Congratulations on an pal.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, I had nothing to do with this. You did this.
Yeah. So this is a lot of fun. Now you do like of course, the mountain courses, a lot of elevation changes. So the course itself is a lot of fun to play.
This course is fun. I played this one in real life a couple of times. I have a friend that used to be a member over there. When he was a member, we would go play this all the time. It's a ton of fun.
So first hole, obviously mountains, we're going to get to the mountains because there's a lot of interesting work that you did in the mountains, hills behind there. But you did have a custom driving range and very straightforward driving range.
Yeah, it's just a straightforward drive. And I think I actually forgot to put the bag and markers down on that, so I have to do an update on
that. Out there by your lonesome. Now, T markers, I assume these are not replicating anything they have there. You made these up from scratch, right?
I made these from scratch, and what I tried to do, if you got a picture of the flag, I don't know if you did or not. Did you get a picture of the flag?
Yep.
You can kind of see in the fold of the flag, their logo is what I think is like a modern interpretation of the mountains.
Exactly.
So I took their logo into Blender, and my entire goal was to create almost like it was carved with a CNC machine out of a billet of like aluminum, right? Yep. I wanted to look like an aluminum thing that they painted the different colors, what I was going for.
Yes, I totally got that, and it makes sense to me. Now, what people don't realize is that, so here's one of the blue logos, so we got a nice close-up of it. Now, Steve apparently captured an image of you and I helping you build this logo. So here it is. Yes. So
it's like crystal math.
Yes. So there we are making your logo. And then there's the byproduct of it. So it's nice logo. I like appreciate it,
You know
especially the
what's
blue one
funny
there.
about the about the T markers too? I love that, by the way. If you go back one, you know what's the funny thing I really struggled with was I didn't know how to, like, normally the logos have like some sort of metal stand to plant them in the ground with,
Yeah,
and every time I did that, it looked bad. Like I couldn't figure out how to, so I just like
yeah, just make them
stuck them with
magical.
the. They're just the,
They're,
the the left mountain peak is like sticking in the ground, and that's it. So I was like,
yes,
whatever.
no, it's simulator golf. So why can't we have like magical T markers, right?
Magical D markers, they're
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so here was 16. So when you talk about like, this has to be like a signature hole in the course, right?
It is. It's one of the it's one of the signature holes in the course. 240-yard, 30-yard down to a par three. And it's all it's literally, I think it's about, I mean, without the elevation, I think it's a 220-yard carry over the ravine just to get on the other side. So it's not, it's short because of the elevation down, the 30 yards down. So that makes it shorter. But yes, it's a hard hole.
So on this hole though, the one thing you don't appreciate, and unless you hit down and you turn around and you look back up the hill, is this. And and if you're a designer, and I immediately, because like when I was looking down, I turn around and it's like, oh man, you had to put a lot of work into getting this to look the way it does, because this is like, there's a lot of sculpting to get your tee boxes flat. The lidar never comes in great for stuff like this.
Yep. Yep,
Um,
it's hard. There is no, and listen, I want to give a huge shout out to CE Sim Golf. Chris Anderson helped me. He helped me. He didn't. I want to make sure I'm clear. He helped me with the technique needed to make these walls. Right. He showed me how to make walls in Blender, and from there. So he got me going on the skills. From there, I kind of rinsed. I think I made these walls probably like 11 times, because I never got them looking right. And then I sent one over to him and I'm like, hey, this looks great. And he's like, yeah, it looked better if you beveled it. And I'm like, oh shit. So then I went back and learned how to bevel, and then I sent it over to him and he was like, yeah, it looks better, but you would look better with more bevels. And so he gave me some great feedback and helped a ton. And now I feel like I can build these walls pretty simply and easily. I'm doing a lot more Blender work than I've ever done. But the one thing you can't do, I don't know how to do it, is you can't, like the cart path, it's windy and then it comes down the hill. There's no way to do that in Blender. And I did use like RAM on the
yeah.
Unity terrain to try to level that, and that on this steep of a slope has its own set of issues. So it was a lot of manual carving, and then I finally decided, you know what, parts that aren't perfect, sorry, you're not going to see them because you're on top, you're on the tee box looking down.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like I kind of went snooping around in there and saw some things, but you don't see it. So
Now, one thing this slide I think would be good to point out for those of you that want to do mountain courses, and I've learned this over time. One, the mountains in the background are they're obviously nature manufactured mountains. They look really good. They're not the exact view you're going to get like if you're on there looking out, because they're just not. But you need something. And then two, I did a mix of terrain and real rock base package rocks and other nature manufacturer rocks into the terrain to give a more real. So if you look on the right hand side, those rocks with the trees planted on them with the
yes,
grasses up against them,
those
those
are
are
prefabs.
rock prefabs on top of some terrain to give a. I tried to go for a more real rocky view than just using terrain.
Yes, and I think I have. Well, this is another hole. Where you had, I love this like path. Like, so you got the T markers in the back. You're parking your cart over here, and
Yep.
then you just did a really good job creating this like walking path to the front tees. It's really cool.
Yep. Thank you.
So these are a couple of the prefabs that you're talking about.
Yep.
Now, this
Yep.
isn't.
I took it.
These aren't
I
the
took a.
big ones though. These are just off of the back of a green someplace.
Yep. Exactly. But instead of just leaving it as terrain, I went in and took an actual rock, scaled it, stretched it, changed the texture a little bit,
Yeah,
updated the texture a little bit, and then tried to make it look not stretched out,
yeah,
and put a real rock so you could hit that off the tee, and you'll never find your ball.
yeah. Um, so this picture, one of the things I noticed was how many different layers were you building out your vegetation? Because when you are flying over a course, and I think I think we had talked about this way back a long time ago, is you were trying to figure out a good way of making these hills look like they have vegetation on them
Yep.
from a distance without killing performance, and
Yep.
then getting closer, having it detailed so that it looks like it's really full. So as I'm flying around, I'm like, wow, you probably have, if you're seeing my mouse, way out in the distance, obviously these are billboards, and then there's
Yep.
like a layer of vegetation that's building out right here. There's
Yep.
another layer right here. There's another layer right here. And actually, as you zoom in closer, I think there's even one more layer of vegetation that gets built out so that when you're close, it's nice and dense.
Yeah, and there's so on the that's it. There's 4 layers that I have, and so what I did do was there's about 8 different grasses. By the way, now they're not different. I shouldn't say that. There's about 8 different prefabs in the
Yeah.
in the biome, and that's all mesh terrain planted. By the way, that's not biome planted. It's mesh terrain planted, but it's in the biome in VS Pro.
Yeah.
There's 8 different prefabs, and I want to say like there's probably 4 different types of grasses, right? I use the same grass multiple times to do different sizes, different scaling. And then what I ended up doing was I set the max render distance on VS Pro to like 1,500 yards or meters, whatever it is. Like I set it way out there, but I only have one grass going that far out.
Right. Which is
Okay,
probably
because I
the
want
one
that.
way out here. Right.
Yeah, because I didn't want it to be flat. I wanted to give some depth to it from a distance, but I can't. And then I just played with it to see up close. When you're sitting on these tee boxes, I want it to be the thick, rich that it is. So they're up close. They're close. And I tried to find a distance that would be good. It's not perfect because you can see as the ball flies, especially if you hit it over there, you can kind of see like a ripple effect of multiple different
Yeah.
layers rendering.
You can, but
But
you had to also be cognizant of it matching your satellite too,
yes,
or else
yeah.
it
So
would
I
have been look
actually took.
really goofy. So you gradually change the color of the grasses.
Yep. I tried to make it to where the grasses that render further out more match the floor of the mountain, and then closer in you get more of the green.
Yeah.
So I tried to scale it that way.
And that's exactly what you see here. So way out here is more of
That's
like
satellite imagery.
that's satellite. And then you'll start to see here the first layer of grasses coming in, which are matching that. And then they gradually, you work in more yellows and then more greens and blues as you get closer.
Yep.
It was very gradual, and I don't, it's tough. It's not easy to do.
It's hard to get these. This is what I'm talking about. These courses where you can see out for like
Yeah.
miles. It's hard to give it depth and not just have it be a satellite imagery. You
Yeah.
know?
And then also when you do like a flyover, not have like that ripple effect be horrible. Yeah.
Right. Right. So
I I had to crack up because we were talking about this a pre-show. Is like, I think you took a hodgepodge of houses, and like it's obviously there was not one builder that built your houses, because we've got Beetlejuice house next to a log cabin, next to modern house, next to eclectic
Yep.
uses.
Yep.
It was
And some of those are like SketchUp. I mean, I
Yes.
grabbed them from SketchUp. I was looking for some unique houses. I will tell you right now, it's the thing I hate the most about my course are the houses. And I have a hate relationship with houses right now. Okay. I really, really appreciate the houses in the base pack, but I don't like them. Okay.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like them. And then I have some extra house assets, and I feel like I've overused them. So, and they don't match. Like that house, that's the fourth one up on the right with the solar panels on it, and the one next to it are from an asset pack that I bought. No, to the right of it. Sorry, the
This
red
one
one.
right here.
Yep, those two. They're from a pack that I have, and they look nice, but they don't match the style of anything around here. You know.
Right.
So, I think I don't have any courses on deck right now to go do. I'm done. I've got one more in beta, and then I'm done for now. I think what I'm going to try to do is go and I want to build some house packs that give me 5 or 6 different houses that would match mountain type houses, and 5 or 6 different houses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because like this is all done by one designer, and they've got 6 or 7 different types of really beautiful big custom homes. They don't look anything like this. So I'd love to figure out if we can make some house packs based on your type of, you know what I mean? Like if you're, we have some Southwest style homes for that, but like, I don't know. I think we need some house packs to match our style of course.
One of the many things on my list right now is to play with AI and have them build some houses. and just see what they look like.
I would love to see if ChatGPT or whatever could build me a house in Blender. Build me a mountain, a modern mountain house in Blender.
Yeah. So then in your like approach, I think I missed one of the shots I had. I must have left it out. Well, maybe we'll still get to it. So this is you had like two in your, like you had a clubhouse, and this is more like a rec center for the clubhouse.
Yeah, it's a pool, kind of like the pool recreation center that's off
Yeah.
the putting green.
Cool campfire there. You know, colors look really good. And then you had, it's hard to see here, but you definitely see it on the course. You had fireworks going off above the clubhouse.
Fireworks. I found a fireworks prefab, and I'm like, oh, well, I
gotta
put it
use
in there
that.
to see it, and I was like,
gotta use it.
Felt like you're
at Disney World. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I thought this was funny. So I'm flying around and I see this house, and well, apparently it's been abandoned because the pool is full of weeds. The one I must have not cut it in. Let me see. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I must have missed the screenshot. One was, what was the terrain size for this course? Because it looked like it was very long and narrow. And one of the things I wanted to capture was when you talked about your rock prefabs, there was like almost like a ridge that went through the middle of the course, and there were holes on either side, and you had like the rocks in the middle. And I was like, wow, that's. So then I was like, well, your terrain must have been kind of an awkward size to capture everything.
The terrain, I think, was like, I'd have to look it up and see. I don't have it open at the moment. I want to say the terrain size was like...
Was it over 2,000?
Yeah, like 2,800 meters.
So it's pretty big. I mean, huge,
pretty
but
big.
Bigger than, okay.
But you nailed it. This course, so the picture you showed on 16, that par 3, that is coming back over the ridge. So 10 through 15 are all on the other side of the ridge.
Yeah.
And then the front 9, and then the last 2 holes are on the other side. So there is this ridge that runs right down, and there's some power lines that I put on there. And I couldn't. It was driving me crazy because it was just sat shader. I felt like it looked like shit because it was just satellite imagery of like white rock, right?
Yeah.
So I lined the whole thing with rock prefabs. And I moved them, I resized them, and I rotated them, and I stretched them, and I did all kinds of stuff, and I did half in the ground, and then I planted grasses and trees on them to give that kind of like really rocky look, and I think it turned out pretty well.
Yeah, it did. I thought I had a screen capture that. So sorry,
cool.
I don't have it in here.
Good course. It was fun. It's a fun course to play.
So post of the week. So this week I had mine in here first. So bring our video back in, and here we go. So this guy is awesome. He's he couldn't stop his awesomeness, but
wow.
So there's budget setups, but this thing is like this fabric, is it like rawhide, and he said that's really durable, yet well, you can tell every single ball he hit on there. It's like a dispersion map.
I mean, I am pretty impressed. It looks pretty narrow, and he's got a pretty good spread pattern on there. That's pretty impressive. But like, I mean, I guess for $14, he could probably put up 100 of those for the cost of my screen.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, he put it up for $14, but I can count how many shots he's hit into it.
Exactly. He's working on the cost per shot.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can go down here.
Exactly. He's down to like 15 cents a shot.
Dude, send me a picture in about 3 months. Let me know what it looks like.
I love that. I actually love that. That's nicely done. Wow. I didn't see that post.
Yeah. Marine
canvas
fabric.
matte fabric on Amazon.
He's getting some good backspin there.
I wonder what they use that for. Okay.
So this was a soupy response, which was, we need some more Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut course would be nice, and just soupy responds with the course map. Which, you see people who post like, and to me, the people who should be complaining the most are Irish courses. We don't have any Irish because of the lack of LiDAR.
There's no LiDAR there, yeah.
But there are some amazing courses in Ireland. I'd love to see more of them. But for someone to say we don't, and I've seen this a couple times for some reason last week, we don't have any New England courses. Are you kidding me, dude?
Well, it's almost the same as like, people forget courses that were released 3 weeks ago.
Yes, true.
It's like, like it's all about what's released right now, and everything else. Like they're looking at the 8 courses that came out last week, and they're forgetting the 762 that launched in the year before
Yeah,
it. So
yeah. And that is great. Soupy just goes out. Here's the course map,
I love
dude.
it.
There's
I love it.
like 20 or 30 of them in there.
Soupy has such great responses.
Yeah. I don't know if this guy was trolling or not.
He can't be. He's trolling. There's no way. That has to be a troll.
Now, whether it was a troll or not, some of these responses were pretty good. And yeah, so I mean, obviously a quad, a Core 2 quad. I mean, that thing's like
no way. He's got to be trolling. I love it though. I think it's awesome. I'm sure. So there's some real serious responses like, absolutely not. That will not run you.
I don't even think you could check your email on that. I'm not sure this will run 2 Chrome tabs at once.
The problem is there's people that are like, what's a Chrome tab?
Yes, right.
What's a Chrome tab? What is that?
What's a Chrome tab? This was a classic. So this guy's setup. Is that a lift for a car?
That's a lift. That is a lift for a car.
You imagine shanking into that?
Shanking one off. I was thinking the exact same thing. You imagine shanking it off the blue lift.
Oh my god!
Riser there, and like, oh, that thing's gonna ricochet. Oh my god, that is a.
And not only that, but like he just has that screen up. There's no extension system coming out, so it's gonna ricochet inside that building. But I like the lift for the car.
I saw a video of a dude who like hit it into a wall, and it came back and hit him in the head. And on one hand I laughed, and I felt bad for laughing because like he was on the ground, and they were like, they were like getting some help. Dude, I mean, like, so, but like that's like
you gotta have some confidence in your game to have a setup like that.
Wow, yeah, not me.
Yeah, no, not me either. So this was a post. Just started using GS Pro. Is there an easier course to start with? Okay.
I post in all of these posts, by the way.
Do you? So I like this one, which is the response was Chris's mom is pretty easy.
I saw that. That was so good.
Thank you, Andrew. That was
Andrew wins the internet. I think that was so good. I saw that response and I couldn't stop. I was crying. I was laughing so hard. Chris's mom.
And then there was another one here. I can't remember what this is. Might be a daft question, but so this was no. Now I remember. So this was my feed. This is a screenshot from my feed. So this is a pretty good burn.
Yeah.
The guy's name is Will Burnside. The next post. I just thought it was ironic that Burnside will burn as the next post. Anyway.
Nice, nice algorithm, Facebook.
Yes. Thank you, Facebook.
I only have one.
One.
I'm slacking. I find most. By the way, on most of those easier courses, my answer is the same. I just post Sanctuary.
Yeah.
But like, I only found one. I'm slacking. I look all the time, and I have not found ones that were worthy. Maybe I'm setting my bar too high, but I thought they weren't worthy. You found some good ones. I didn't see the third thing to put in, but I found one that I think we can all relate to.
All right.
And it's self-explanatory. There's not much to read on it. Ready? Here we go.
Fucking free putt.
That's someone's license plate.
Yes, that's freaking great.
That is awesome.
I might have to take a screenshot and send it to my buddies here.
I just like feel like I didn't like. I wish I did it. I wish I was that smart. So I wish I had that license plate.
Yeah, I'm taking a picture of this right now and sending it to my guys.
It's such a good. I thought that was great.
All right. I think that is the end of the show.
Congrats, everybody, on your MPOWs. Awesome jobs. Thank you for my MPOW. I appreciate it. Have fun playing sim golf, everybody.
All right. See you later. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.